We are live. Hey there, everyone. Welcome. Anyone showed up yet? Just going over our basic stuff. This is going to be great, Nick. I mean, Edie carries the silence for us, so I'm not sure exactly what to expect for us.
Okay, well, I'll like stop. Where the hell is my thing? I need to lower myself. I will not read news while other people talk. While you talk this time.
Okay. We're going to need to bring in your cats, like anything to prop this episode up.
Oh well, Jupiter is off in the bedroom. Shepherd is on top of a crate, napping in the sun. I'm really hearing myself coming through your speakers, I think.
That's not good.
I can hear myself pretty well. Test, test. Well, I don't hear me now. Okay, now I do.
Damn it. Okay, so maybe I just need to turn myself down. Is that any better?
Sorry, test, test.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can still hear me.
I really hope that isn't coming through in the stream.
Yeah, I guess we can ask Wraith. AC Wraith, can you hear my echo coming through Andrew?
Because Edie has like a bunch of sound software and systems set up for this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, she's a sound
I do
freak.
not.
She's a super sound freak, like all with the total audio file. Me, I'm like, I don't know. I've got a fucking pair of headphones and a mic. I was genuinely using a Rock Band mic for a podcast for years.
That's nice.
And it worked well. Like, it sounds good. It's just that it doesn't have a stand.
I pretty much get headphones that work, and I'm fine.
Okay. So Wraith is saying maybe at one point, but even with the volume up now, it's not. So maybe it's just coming through my end. So
can you handle that?
Oh yeah, it's fine.
Like for me, I get kind of dumb when I hear my own voice, and I just start talking like this. I can't help it.
Like, hello, hello.
Just hearing that throws me off so much.
Yeah, I can ignore it. It's fine. Actually, now I don't hear it. Maybe tiny briefly? Who knows? That's weird.
Yeah. All right. So I guess it's just because my voice has gotten deeper. Yes, AC Wraith.
Oh, yeah, I wonder if maybe it's coming through the webcam instead of the headphones.
Huh.
That might explain it.
I don't know, to be honest. Welcome to GameHounds, where we fix audio problems as we are live.
Yes, that is the GameHounds way.
Okay, how about now?
You sound way quieter, but also way clearer.
Okay, good. I mean, I'll have to speak louder then. Yes, you were right, though. It was coming through my...
Okay, the webcam. That's why.
Yeah, for Spreaker. But, yeah. It was also, I think, coming through this. Okay, so we will not be having a Spreaker show, so I'll just open with our normal opening. Hello, and welcome to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 581. We are recording on February 7th, 2021. I'm Andrew Maybe, and with me is Nick Dinacodal. Nick Dinacola. Edie is off today, and I am running the show into the ground clearly.
Dinacodal. I like Dinacodal.
I also can't speak.
That's a kind of pasta.
Is it?
Yeah, sure, maybe.
We'll work it out.
I'm gonna go have some rigatoni and dinacodal for dinner tonight.
All right. So, what have you been up to this week?
Games, anime. So, okay, I will open at the suggestion of Jay the Game Guru, who we were playing Ghost of Tsushima with earlier this week. Actually, I didn't mention that. I finally played Gold on that with you guys. Finally the Nightmare mode. But after we did that, we were talking, and he recommended an anime called Gangsta. Not Gangster, just Gangsta ending in an A. So I started watching it like on Friday night. I was just like, I'm gonna binge the whole thing because it's only 12 episodes, so that's usually easy to do. Um, watch the whole thing. It's a very good show. It's got like some good world building, good characters, good action. It's got kind of a Cowboy Bebop vibe in that it's a lot of kind of cool people hiding a lot of trauma and sadness and depression underneath. So it's, got a cool surface, but also some impressive depth to it. Uh, really liked it. And you 100% should not watch it, unfortunately.
So great, great, great. Just don't ever watch it.
Yes, because I had to look this up. After I finished episode 12, I was like, what the fuck did I just see? And I had to look it up. Turns out the company that was animating it went bankrupt mid-production. And so what felt like should have been a 24 to 26 episode series was 12 episodes. 12 episodes and a recap episode, which is super hurtful because like a series with that many episodes, you kind of spend the first half getting to know the world, getting to know the characters, and then like episode 11 and 12, some big shit starts to happen that like shatters the status quo. And it's like, okay, some stuff is going down, and then it ends. Because that's the last episode ends. And I'll only spoil this because it's such a batshit crazy way to like end the series, especially because afterwards I saw a trailer that was like, own the complete series of Gangsta. I'm like, motherfucker, it's not complete.
Yeah.
The final episode ends with one of the main characters getting stabbed and thrown out a window, has a gang war goes on outside. He
And that's
lands
it.
on the ground and it's like, oh, it's raining. And everyone's like, oh, shit. Everyone we know is fighting each other. People are dying. What's going to happen? Cut to credits. And that's it. That's the end of the show.
Yeah, that would drive me nuts. So this is a
God.
long-standing problem with anime. Anime has been seen as a way to prop up sales for like manga and the light novels and
So here's
other
the thing, though.
mediums.
I don't think it's based on anything. It's
No.
just so last week I was talking about Shigarui Death Frenzy, which ended with unfinished, but at least like an arc ended. I was able to go on the wiki and read what happens. Cool. There is nothing like that for Gangsta because it's just the anime.
That's exceptionally shitty then.
So
That is a series getting canceled like any other.
yes, so that's why I highly recommend people don't watch this very good series because it will
You will be
only leave you
disappointed.
disappointed and depressed.
It's Firefly. Like you watch Firefly, at least that got a movie.
Yeah, at least it got a movie. Even the ending of the series, like that final episode, at least kind of worked as a series end. Like it wasn't a goddamn is the main character gonna live or die cliffhanger.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
It just kind of ended abruptly in Firefly until the movie.
exactly. Yeah.
Welcome to the chat, Ryan Stevenson. Oh, I'm gonna butcher everyone's name. Really running this one to the ground. Bitters Plus, welcome. Of course, AC Wraith, Corey Wallace. So Edie's not here today. She had a community project that she is working on that she got funding for months ago. She applied for a grant, and they eventually gave it to him, but because of COVID, she couldn't get it done. And now, 9 months later, 10 months later, a year later, she's able to actually go out and do that. And she was going to do it yesterday, but it was raining, so she's going to do it today. She may show up later, she may not.
Yeah. So she's doing something with a park, and then a couple weeks ago she was, doing metal detectors outside. Edie's getting a life outside of the podcast. What the hell is that about?
I don't know. We need her to carry us. Like she does the heavy lifting. She has the sound equipment. The news.
Exactly. I had to create a list of news this week. God damn it. I can't do that every week. That's way too much responsibility.
AC Wraith and
okay, he's saying it is a manga. Okay. That's okay. Well then maybe
or
I
it's a comic. Oh yeah, manga. Okay, so good. That's
Okay. At least I can look it up. Although now I don't care. Like yeah, good show.
uh
Don't watch it. Doesn't end.
well, I guess I mean if we're gonna talk about anime, I was watching an isekai, which is a person gets sent to another world called Jobless Reincarnation. And it sounds terrible, right? Uh it's about uh it's apparently from a light novel or manga that's like the progenitor of isekai. It's one of the first, and it does a lot of
Okay.
stuff right. Uh, having watched it, the main character is like a 34-year-old guy. He's fat. He stays at home. He dies. He gets hit by a truck, and he wakes up in this new world, but as a baby, like literally being birthed.
Oh
So he has the
God.
mind of a 34-year-old in a baby's body. And the first 4 episodes, I think the fifth one's out now. I haven't seen it yet. Is him literally growing up in this world, and instead of like being overpowered from the start, you kind of see his journey as he explores the world and like the world around him and gets to know it. Um, learning magic and sword fighting and just kind of growing up, and that's really cool. I really like that aspect of seeing that the person grow up, and by the time episode 4 is done, he's only 7. For minor spoilers that I know of, the story goes up until he's an adult, like years later.
Yeah. Like, do you know what the arc of that show is? Because if it's just him growing up, like that's very not aimless in a bad way, but
No, I mean not really.
like
Right now, it's an exploration of that world.
okay.
You've learned that long ago there were demons that had a war that may come back up. There's monsters. It's your typical fantasy world. And right now it's him learning that world. That's kind of the arc.
Okay.
The downsides of the show, it's kind of pervy.
I feel like a lot of those shows are.
Well, I mean, the guy is like a 34-year-old like virgin otaku, like the guy who stays in their house all the time, trashed room, not a good person, and it is truly fantasy. It's not like a game or anything, and he takes that with him. He takes that kind of that creepy person with him, and so he's
Except
not
now he's in a child's body surrounded by other kids.
no, he's not. He's not surrounded by other kids for the most part.
Oh, okay,
He does make a friend. He does make a few like childhood friends, and that gets a little weird for me. That's super gray, but like the animation quality, the world building, all of that is nice. It is just adult. It is not like anime, typical like pervy humor.
Okay.
There are adult themes. So yeah, beware of that. But if you like that kind of genre, and the production quality seems amazing so far, I like it. But I have become desensitized to anime stuff, and I'm an adult, so it doesn't bother me. Other than
I've
that, I
got.
watched. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I was just gonna say my watching habits.
Yeah,
Not a
go
new
for it.
thing. I've just gotten in the habit of like a couple weeks ago, I was putting together a little Boba Fett model. Now, like I've still got a bunch of those things from like Christmas and birthdays over the years. So what I'll do is I'll just put on an anime show and just binge 12 episodes while putting together like one of those little metal guys. It's like, okay, that's cool.
I love that
So
you are slowly becoming a weeb.
yeah, I mean, not really, because I'm working on the Red Keep from Game of Thrones. I'm not building Gundams. I'm building Game of Thrones, man. It's a difference.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
Something you should watch that has a full series. And yet, AC Wraith in the chat says you need to start ReZero. That is one of my favorite shows, and yes, you should watch it. There's also another isekai. Corey Wallace, we do have some news, okay? Like Nick prepared. Where was I
You were
going
gonna
for?
say a show I should definitely watch.
Oh, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that.
You've seen all of it?
Not all of Brotherhood. I saw all the original one, and then I got like halfway through Brotherhood and kind of fell off for other things because I got halfway through and I was like, okay, I'm seeing all the same stuff again. So I unfortunately didn't stick with it until it got to the new part.
I don't think you made it halfway through because they shove like the first 12 episodes of the original series and like 2 in Brotherhood.
Mm,
Like they reach a point where it's completely different. But that's a good
yeah.
one.
That,
ReZero, which is go ahead.
that I want to finish watching. I also want to see. I want to start Attack on Titan, but I don't want to do it until the series is finished. Because I know the 4th season is like coming out week by week, and I'm like, I'm not going to start it until it's done.
Uh, Welcome, Edie Sellers. Thanks for
Yeah.
joining us for the first time in chat. It's nice to have you. Uh,
Now, like, in my defense, I didn't know Edie was going to be here when I started writing down news. I was just like,
that's
there was one evening, like Thursday night, I thought, like, oh, you know what? I kind of know 3 news stories I want to talk about. I'll go write those down just so I don't forget. Because I
oh no.
did start writing the anime I've been watching and the games I've been playing. So I figured, okay, I can stick news there, and that's not like outside the realm of unusual. Anyways,
Yeah.
anime.
I
Lots of
watched.
good stuff, lots of okay stuff. What else
Yeah.
did you see?
Oh, I was gonna say I watched like one episode of the show, like Kenmo. Damn it, I can't remember it. The only thing I remember is like it's kind of wild because it's Japan, but like there are like demons in the world, but they're kind of hidden. And the story takes place of like a half demon kid and this like half demon detective guy.
Hmm.
And the show was okay, but I can't really remember the name, so it's not really useful. Right. Shall we move on to games that we've been playing?
Yeah,
All right. Do you want to head up? Do you want to go first?
sure. So going back to something I mentioned earlier, I was finally able to play a Nightmare Tsushima multiplayer mode with Edie, Jay, and Peter. Yeah. Um, and man, that Nightmare mode does not hold back. That Nightmare mode kicks your ass to the point where after playing a couple rounds of that, we went back to do gold and we're like, wow, this is kind of easy.
I did that. I don't remember the exact. I think last week. I think we talked about it with Edie that I joined them for one Nightmare game.
Mm-hmm.
And if I didn't, this will be new. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, you know what, or like 12, and I was like, I don't want to play an hour-long thing, so we'll try the Nightmare, and I'll see how it goes. And then I didn't end up getting to bed till like 2 o'clock because it took 2 hours. And the Nightmare mode was really fun. I have to admit, like there's a lot more elements to it than just the survival wave.
Yeah, we didn't do the raid. We just did the survival on Nightmare. Uh,
Okay.
and so a lot of the assignments that I guess limit your abilities, we didn't have that. What there was, I don't know if this was in yours, it normally in a survival wave, you basically are trying to control 3 points, and enemies will come in waves to attack each of those points. And so your team generally has to split up. 2 people go defend one, 2 people go defend another, and then when one is clear, everyone kind of converges on whatever needs to be protected. So there's a lot of running around in the open world, the open level, while trying to control these 3 points. On Nightmare mode, the moment you step out of those points, the circle that represents, that area you need to control, you start getting shot at by arrows, by these ballistas that come out from the sky. And so you can dodge them because since the ballistas, it's like an arc. So as you're running, you kind of see this icon in front of you that says, okay, this is where the ballista is going to hit. And so you need to not go in there, which makes it a little tricky when 4 people are running to the same point and it's going to shoot in front of one guy. So he's going to keep going and get past it. But then anyone behind him needs to stop or dodge. Uh, or what you end up doing is if someone needs to go get arrows, like they need or go buy an upgrade, you have someone else go run off to the right, attract the ballista's attention while they go running off to the left to get the items. And what that also means is like when you're in the fight and all the enemies are coming in to the points, you can't go out the point. And so you need to stay in this very small area, which is tough because the enemies don't stay in that area. So you have archers standing just outside the circle taking pot shots at you, and every time you go to try to fight them, you get rained on by this ballista. Made extra difficult by the fact that the archers are not just human archers, they're Oni archers, they're demons. So they take way more health, and you'll hit them a couple times, and then they'll disappear and vanish and go someplace else.
Oh, those archers suck.
Yeah, and basically in the nightmare mode of survival, every enemy is an Oni. There's like few, if any, humans to fight. Like from the very beginning, you're fighting Oni enemies with swords. These crow guys that are basically machine gun crows at you that will wipe you out. Like the way the multiplayer starts is you can you not immediately have to get in control of each of 3 points. You kind of drop into this open area, and then you can go clear out a point, then go clear out a point, then go clear out the 3rd point, and then that's when the wave starts. So you kind of have to clear the map first before the official like match begins. Very beginning, we try to clear out the 1st point, and we get wiped.
On the first like wave.
There was one round where I think we lasted 13 seconds.
Oh man, that is not good.
We all ran forward. We all got hit by a fucking crow machine gun, and then a guy with a big mace started swinging in circles, hit all of us, wiped us all out.
That's perfect. Okay, so I've never enjoyed the survival wave that is Nightmare, but I did do the raid, and that was, I think, Nightmare. I'm not sure, but that sounds amazing.
Oh yeah, it's balls hard. We'll definitely have to play it sometime.
I'd be down. Yeah, that's great though. All right.
Other than that, I finished playing Mortal Shell, which I still think is a super cool game. It clicked for me to the point that I really loved playing through all the rest of it, and I played through it all like in one evening. By the end, my character was not overpowered, but you know, I knew enough of what to do that it wasn't too hard fighting the rest of the bosses. And yeah, front runner for my game of the year, which
Really?
it's February. It's the best game I've played so far in the 2 months of this year.
I thought you meant like for last year.
No, it's so far it's the #1 game of the year for 2021.
Okay, gotcha. I mean, I think you've set a pretty low bar. I'm hoping, like, other things should be better at some point.
Maybe we'll see. And then I played a couple other games, but only very briefly. So one of the free games on PSN for February is Destruction All Stars. And as I was downloading that, I thought, wait, didn't I already download this? Because I thought it was a free game in January. Turns out the free game in January that I downloaded was one called Rocket Arena, which is not Destruction All Stars. Rocket Arena, they're both multiplayer only games. They're both very different though in that regard. Rocket Arena is a kind of what's Edie saying? Nightmare Survival is not nearly as hard as the raid. Oh fuck.
No, okay, raid wasn't that hard. Edie just had certain troubles at one of the sections.
Yes. Let's say, oh yeah, Rocket Arena is like this Smash Brothers meets Fortnite, kind of. It's not a battle royale. It's mainly either King of the Hill or just team-based shooter. But it's very fast, and the way it does health, it does it in the Smash Brothers format, where you hit people, you fill up a meter, and then like the next hit will send you flying out of the arena. Instead of lowering someone's health, you're increasing it. And that completely threw me off for a good 30 minutes as I was playing these matches because I would shoot someone, see their health bar go up, and think, what the fuck is going on? And
Am I healing them?
it would only frustrate me. And once I figured out what was going on, I kind of got a little more used to it, but it's just a little fast. There's a lot of abilities that people are throwing off all the time, and every character has their own move sets, and it feels a lot like Overwatch in that if you want to play it and you want to get good at it, you have to put in a lot of like work to learn how to use this character, how to use them against other characters. And when I realized that, I thought, I don't want to put in that much effort.
Yeah, a lot of those like competitive games, like they take time and like getting over that learning curve. Uh, so I could definitely see not wanting to like put that time in, especially for a game that you're not really interested in, like that
Yeah.
you're just trying.
And so then I played the game that I actually wanted to try out, which was Destruction All Stars.
Oh,
Uh,
that back up.
and that is way, way cooler in that it's a multiplayer match that is pretty unique. Uh, it's this mix of demolition derby on foot dodging that's really cool. So like you're dropped into a match and you have to run to a car, and you hop in that car and you can drive around smashing into other guys. And the controls feel really nice. You know, it's a very arcadey kind of driving. And on the right control stick, you have abilities where you can like shunt yourself forward or to the side, so that if you're coming up to someone and you think you're about to miss them, just shunt to the right and you can collide, do some damage.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but if your car gets too damaged, you can eject, and your guy comes flying out of it. And when he's on foot, you can jump over cars, you can dodge them, or if you get close, you can jump on them. And when you jump on them, you take part in this kind of mini game where you mainly just hit like square or circle, um, and you have to do it before the driver does. But if you win, you just automatically blow up their car, and that's pretty cool.
Uh,
And if you, oh
no, it's fine. I was just gonna say I've seen like previews for the game, and it looks legitimately fun. Like I'm wishing I had a PS5 so I could get the game.
yeah, I was playing a couple matches of it just before coming on here, just to kind of try it out. Um, and once you get enough points, you can call in like your own personal supercar, a car that's like custom to your character. And this is where it kind of gets into that hero shooter mode because each hero car has a different ability. And actually, each main character does have a different ability too, but it's not like it's going to significantly change the gameplay. Like one guy can run really fast, and then his car goes invisible, so you can't see it when it's coming at you. Another
That's
guy,
terrifying.
I don't know what his ability is, but his car puts on like this shield so that it does extra damage, but it can't get hurt. And that's just a cool ability. Like, it's not gonna. You don't need to necessarily play a lot to know how to counter that ability. It's just, hey, here's a cool thing to do, and
Yeah,
that makes it way more approachable. But what I think is neat about the game is it has a super robust single player mode. Like, it's a multiplayer only game, but there's like a whole single player challenge mode where you're basically thrown into these matches and it's like, okay, here are a couple objectives that you want to do. One is just win. One is like collect a bunch of these crystals that you can only do on foot. And another's like win by X amount of points. And then if you open up the next level, the three objectives are like smash these crates, win with extra time, or just win. And so it's a series of these challenges that you can do. And then there's a practice mode where you can play as any character on any map, any mode, and there's even like a full-on bot setup. So like you can play a full match with just bots. And it's just really cool that this multiplayer only game has a nice, robust single player component to it that allows you to actually play and practice a lot without going into multiplayer first and getting your ass kicked.
yeah, without like just throwing you in the deep end and hoping you don't play people who've been playing for the last 48 hours.
Yeah. And yeah, what I
Uh,
like what I appreciate about it over Rocket Arena is that just the general moment-to-moment gameplay is way more fun and unique and engaging. The Rocket Arena is just like, I'm going to shoot at some guys, and it doesn't seem to be doing anything. I don't know. Am I helping? And Destruction All-Stars is just, I'm going to smash some cars. And you know when you smash a car right because it blows up.
Yeah, that's one game that like when I saw it being released, I was like, I kind of want to play that. Like, I don't necessarily know if I'm like super looking forward to it, but if I got the chance to play it, I'd be happy to.
And I know it was supposed to be a launch game for $70 because it's PlayStation 5 exclusive. But then it got delayed, and that's when they decided to make it one of the PSN free games. That was one of the best things they could have done to it because I'm really enjoying it. I would not have paid $70 for it.
No, neither
Absolutely
did I.
not. Especially not like blind.
Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, like that was one of the downsides to it as well. It's just that is a massive entry price for a game that looks like you're gonna play it like an hour, 2 hours.
For what kind of looks like a free to play a free to play multiplayer game. It's like I'm not going to pay $70 up front for that. So
Yeah,
good on them for making it a free PSN game because that
it
has helped it a lot, I imagine.
it reminds me of Rocket League, kind of that game that when that launched, PS5 was just like, here, everyone have it, and it
Yeah,
increased their player base. It gave them a lot of coverage and eyes on the game itself, and because of that, I firmly believe that it is the reason it has done so well. One of the reasons.
yeah. So that's my stuff.
All right. Well, I've been working all week, so like I have 2 days off this week, and this is one of them.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So I haven't got the chance to play a whole lot of new things, but I have played like 3 games briefly, and I'll go over them. Last night actually, I ended up buying Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. I ended up returning it
Nice.
or
Oh,
refunding.
lame.
Okay, listen, the game itself
Lame.
is fun. I enjoyed it, and I love the like aggressive combat, the back and forth. Like you can attack a lot, but like you hit that parry when they're coming back for you. It feels action packed, feels kinetic,
Yeah.
and I love it. However, I realized after going to bed that night that I have a lot of games on my plate, and
Yeah,
I
but
need to
Sekiro's better than all of them.
I don't. Maybe I didn't get very far.
Those other
It
games
was
suck.
so. You're not wrong, but it is something I want to get to later. And it was running well on my computer, but I think I'd like a better one to really like get the full experience.
Mm.
Yeah, it was good, and it's on sale currently on Steam for 38% off. It's only like $38. That's it. So if you're looking to pick it up, now's a good time. On PC, anyways.
Everyone should do it, and don't return it. Don't
I,
pull an
I will
Andrew.
get it. I will get it again, just after I have gone through some of my games. Speaking of, I picked up a long-standing game that I've wanted to pick up called RimWorld. And have you ever heard of this game, Nick?
Vaguely, the
Okay.
name might sound. I think it sounds familiar, but I don't know what it is.
So it is a colony-based sim game. Like you build up a colony, you get people, and you kind of mine, gather resources, and try to survive. And there's a couple like stories that you can do. Like if you want, you can be a tribe on the planet. So you get to choose 5 people, and you can start building up from there, or you can be crash landing, which means you have 3 people. And it kind of changes the backgrounds of the character. The whole point of it is to kind of develop a story. Now, this one isn't mine, but it's one of the reviews in Steam, and I love it. They were talking like one of their greatest moments in the game was they got attacked by some raiders, and they had a pet raccoon named Willie. Willie unfortunately lost all of his limbs in that attack, but they managed
Aww.
to repel the invaders. Well, the next time they got attacked by invaders, they had actually broken through his defenses. And one of the characters got pushed all the way back to their room. And as the raider was coming into the room, little Willie was there. And it's the limbless little raccoon waddled over and started biting at the raider's leg. And it started shooting at Willie instead of the person. And the person was able to beat the person down and survive. Willie, critically injured, gets taken to like the medical wing that he had set up, and thankfully Willie survives. But the doctor also put four little peg legs on Willie now. So now Willie is wandering the potato farms, hero and protector of the village, and little things like that are great. Like another instance was like they had 52 cats in their colony. They had because you can tame animals and they can breed and you can make more. Well, when winter would come, they wouldn't have enough food because they have 52 fucking cats. So
Yeah.
villagers would die, and when villagers would die, or colonists would die, the cats would eat the bodies.
Oh yeah,
if
see,
they were-
that's how you get food.
If they were
No
lucky,
worries.
they would get attacked by raiders, and they might lose some cats, but they would win, and the cats would have plenty to eat throughout the winter. Eventually, the cats bred, and there were more cats, and the original cat of the colony became entirely cybernetic and became immortal, and was the one ruler of the colony for all of time. So the whole point of the game is to make weird stories like that. There's a lot of events in the game, and you just kind of you should keep an internal track of like how things progressed. How that works though is they have an AI system, kind of reminiscent of Left 4 Dead. You know how they have the AI director
Yeah.
in Left 4 Dead? We have something like that too, where it's after a certain amount of time, an event happens, and depending on how things have been going, the difficulty of the event is adjusted. After you clear that event, save raiders, whatever, there's another cooldown period, and the AI director will try to set up a new event later down the road. That's a little harder, and they keep track of that, and they keep building and building as you progress during days, how many people you have, and all sorts of stuff to kind of keep it balanced and entertaining. The one downside about the game is if you're really heavy into graphics, it's not a graphically advanced game. In fact, like the people are mostly just body shapes, little like circles for hands, and then a face. Like not even a super detailed face.
Yeah. I've seen pictures. It's a very pixel art kind of 2D top down view.
Yeah, but the mechanics in the game are dense, and there's a lot of little stories that you can make and kind of just run your life, run your colony. You have to worry about your colonists' moods. Like sometimes people have the trait pyromaniac, and if they get stressed or they get depressed, they'll want to burn things to feel better, and you gotta be wary of that because you don't want them burning down your shit. The mechanics also for people like if you get shot in the arm, you can develop an infection. If you're not able to cure it, you'll have to cut it off, and that person will lose the arm in the game, and that'll decrease their effectiveness on like hunting and carrying and stuff like that. But you can also get cybernetics, and later down the road, you can put a new arm on. People might have a heart problem, and if they work too hard or if they exert themselves too much, they might have a heart attack. Stuff like that.
Jeez.
So each person has a lot of little like moodlets and modifiers to them. So each person is unique.
It's kind of it sounds like the classic game of what it doesn't have in graphics, it makes up for in depth of systems.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I've only gotten through the tutorial, but it's a game that I've wanted for a long time and I've wanted to play. It does not go on sale very often, but it starts at $35 on Steam, so it's pretty cheap, considering. Outside of that, I played a game called Raft as well.
I think
If you
I've heard
don't,
of this too. That's another Rust-like, right?
yeah, it's another survival game where you build resources, um, build a structure, and in this case, you build up a raft. You can make it wide, but if you make it too wide, like water becomes a problem. And the goal is to basically you live on a water world, and you travel from island to island. And there's a story that you kind of unfold, from my understanding. I haven't gotten very far into it yet.
Have you built a
Um,
raft?
I have not. I was mostly on another person's raft for most of it. I would fish a lot, so I'd get a little knickknacks that you can put around, like a little cat that has its arm go like this, and I just start putting it all over the raft. I found a
Yeah,
shoe, put that on someone's
decorating it.
shelf.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, good. Every raft needs a shoe.
uh, yeah, and in that game, like one of the things is you're constantly getting like attacked by a shark. There's always a shark in the water, so you can't really take too long in there, but you can kill
Mm.
it. It'll come back in like 3 minutes, but you can kind of do
Does
your
it bother
thing in
you
that
if
time.
you're on the raft, or is it only like if you're swimming?
It'll attack the raft occasionally. You'll have to
Okay.
fix it. But if
Yeah,
you're
that can be
swimming,
annoying.
it'll come right after you. My friends named it Bruce.
Yeah.
So, fish are friends. And you can only eat humans, apparently. But that game looks like a lot of fun if you're into that collecting, building, survival type game.
Hmm.
And you want a new version of that where you're on the water and kind of traveling. It's a good one to get into. It's early access currently, so they're still working on it, and they're still going to put in new features.
Cool.
But yeah, that's all I've been playing.
Well, since you mentioned raft, that just reminds me of a movie on Netflix called Sweetheart, which is kind of the same. Like it's this woman washes up on a deserted island, has to survive, and then slowly starts to realize, yo, there's something really weird on this island. And it's just a really good, super low budget monster movie.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
Uh,
Oh,
just want to
happy
say,
birthday,
yeah,
AC
happy
Wraith.
birthday, AC Wraith. No, you know what? I haven't actually seen you, but there's no way you don't look better than Shakira. You are amazing. You are a gem, AC Wraith.
I mean, for as long as I've known AC Wraith, he's had the same icon. And so he hasn't aged a day since I've known him. That icon
That's
is the
true.
same. That icon hasn't changed at all.
Oh, apparently, according to Kaz, the in world, the shark's name is Bruce in the notes. That's what I
Oh,
told.
okay. Huh.
So it has a name. It's apparently immortal, but yes.
I wonder why
Sweet.
Bruce. I started thinking about a bunch of shark movies. Like, was there ever a shark named. Was a shark in Jaws named Bruce?
Finding Nemo. That's the only one I know.
Was he named Bruce? Is a Shark Tale shark named Bruce?
No, and yeah, in Finding Nemo, it's Bruce Fisher Fritz.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why that was the joke.
Oh, and
But yeah,
turns
I
out
mean,
Bitters Plus shares a birthday with Lucy Lawless, and AC Wraith shares a birthday with Shakira.
nice.
Some
I
GameHounds trivia for you.
Yes, that'll be on the quiz in 2 weeks. Please remember, write notes. Uh, I don't think my birthday is special. I don't think it's shared with anyone. Probably actually a lot of people, but no one that I know of that's special. So
I'm sure it is. You just have to like look it up, and then you'll be like, "Oh, really? That person? No, that person? That person?"
fair. All right. So do you have anything else to bring up?
No, that's all I've played.
All
Yeah,
right.
I wanna get to. I really wanted to play the medium, on Game Pass, but I just never got a chance to do it. Last week, I spent all the time playing Mortal Shell, so hopefully I can get to it this week. Fingers crossed. I've been wanting to.
I guess I played some more Ghost of Tsushima single player. I just got to Act 3, and that was super sad.
Yeah,
Uh,
right. The transition from 2 to 3 is like, wow, this is
I won't
fucked up.
spoil it,
It's
but
a low point.
fuck that game.
Well,
So,
Kaz, okay, Kaz is something in the chat, but I'm not sure what he's referring to.
are you talking about Raft, Kaz?
I'll let you know. It might not be worth it. A lot of build up and interesting story, but not super exciting. Okay, I think he's talking about Raft.
Yeah, and I mean, those games aren't really supposed to be super exciting.
Or he's talking about the Medium. Either one.
Oh, okay. Medium,
Oh yeah,
yes.
Medium. Okay. I've also heard mixed things about it, but I'm still looking forward to at least seeing the
Uh,
disappointment for myself.
I know Kaz. Kaz is one of my friends, and they have a friend as well that has been streaming the Medium for them. So I haven't got the chance to see it. The mechanics look cool, but I'm not really sure what it's all about yet.
I'm I am not a fan of Blooper Team. They've made other indie horror games that I think are very meh. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Was any of it like top tier budget that Medium seems to have?
no. They
Uh,
did Layers of Fear, Observation, and Blair Witch.
Heard of none of those except like the
Okay,
movie Blair Witch. So, all right. So I guess we'll move on to the news then.
yeah.
Uh, I don't even know the jingle. Like, do you remember the jingle, Nick?
Do 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 do. It's news.
It's Blue's Clues for sure. Uh, shit. So yeah, this is GameHounds, the news, views, and commentaries of this game and or this week in gaming. Edie, please hurry back. Do not let the shaft suffer like this ever again. Uh, so yeah, let's go on to our first story. Do you want to start?
Sure. One of the things that I guess, so WB has patented the Nemesis system from Shadow of Mordor, and I guess the patent was just issued this week, was just finalized this week. But this is something they have been working on for years, which previous to this finalization, a YouTuber put out a video about the Nemesis system and kind of did some digging and kind of it didn't reveal it, but it was the first place that kind of said, oh, WB is trying to patent it. Because up until now, one of the things about the Nemesis system is, wow, that's a really cool system. Why hasn't anyone else done something like that? And
Yeah.
now we kind of know why, is that WB was in the process of patenting it. And so anyone that wanted to try it would have to change it significantly. And so maybe that's why you didn't see a lot of quick imitators for it.
Do you know if there's any other systems, like in-game systems, that have been patented by anyone?
Loading screen tutorials.
By who?
Oh, um, oh fuck, Namco, I think. Oh, like the ability to play a game during loading screens, because they did that initially with like Centipede. I think there was some game like PS2 era that where you could play Centipede during the loading screens, and Namco patented that idea. Um, and so that's why you didn't see a lot of that for the longest time. I think like Bayonetta got around it because you're not playing a game, you're practicing moves, and in Assassin's Creed you're just moving a character around. Um, and so
I,
there are ways to get around this patent. You change a thing here and there, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, look, it's not the same system.
yeah.
But it is always kind of disappointing to see systems like this get patented because you can't do that. Oh, and one I also learned listening to Giant Bomb, the Mass Effect wheel, the conversation wheel. And I guess that's patented specifically in that, the shape, the way that the choices branch off from that shape, and then the fact that the things you're selecting are like summaries of what you're going to say. It's not word for word what you're going to say, it's the intention of what you're going to say. And so that idea is patented by BioWare.
That's terrible to me, though. Like,
Yeah, it kind of sucks.
I'm all for keeping your like code and stuff secret, like to whatever degree that you can. But don't lock systems behind like patents because people can take that and make those things better. Like you were just depriving people of potentially awesome things.
Yeah.
Uh,
And Blood Reaper said that Assassin's Creed Odyssey had a Nemesis-like system, but I thought that was just people you could hunt, and not necessarily like, oh, if you because the whole point of Nemesis system was if you try to kill a guy and then he kills you, he remembers you.
Yeah, and there's a
Like-
whole like social interaction thing.
Yeah. Because I thought with Assassin's Creed, it's like, hey, here's a list of dudes to kill, and you could go and kill them or not.
E. Sellers said, apparently when WB applied for the patent before and failed, the person who made the judgment cited creating Crusader Kings 3 is a reason why they could patent it. I guess the new guy doesn't play Crusader Kings 3. Interesting.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, like the way the relationships change in Crusader Kings, it's like, this is kind of like a Nemesis system.
And then it also depends on how much they're going to litigate the system. Like, if you have a social interaction system like that between enemies, are they going to be like, hey, that's the Nemesis system. We don't want you to use that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the issue with doing this patent is you don't know. So are you going to put resources into this system not knowing how WB will react? Because you could try and then WB would come after you. Or you could try and they won't. But you just don't know. And so why risk any of that potential litigation?
Hog Law, which is a YouTube channel I think Edie mentioned once upon a time, back when they were talking about the Apple versus Epic stuff, which I haven't heard anything about lately. Is Blood Reaper was mentioning that Hog Law has done a video on this. So if you want to see more about this, you might get more of the details and what it's like to litigate something like this. That'd be a good place to look if you're interested.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm hoping they're not too crappy about it.
Yeah, especially because I don't think Shadow of War did all that well, so I assume that franchise is dead.
I mean, the game set like itself, I think, did fine. I've always thought that game was fun. It had I guess Batman Arkham is owned by WB too. But I was going to say, like, taking another studio's combat system, because that's pretty much what they did with the Shadow of War game and using it and then trying to patent the system.
Well, see, like, why not just take that Nemesis system that they already own and put it in a Batman game?
Oh, I spelled that. Something was spelled wrong, but ignore that. I will just take this banner off. So, yeah. Anything else?
Yeah. Trying to think which one. So I got one. Valve is having kind of a bad week. One of the reasons they did, and this came from AC Wraith in the chat, is they lost a patent infringement lawsuit that SCUF Gaming had brought against them for the Steam controller. And the patent, basically, SCUF Gaming sued them based on how the back paddles were shaped for the Steam controller. And they have now won. And so Valve has got to pay up $4 million, which all things considered for Valve is probably not that much. And it's also not really an ongoing issue because the Steam controller has already been discontinued. So they're not even making it anymore.
I wonder if this was why it was discontinued in part. Like, it wasn't doing well.
Oh, that could be.
I mean, yeah, I don't think it's going to affect Valve too much.
Mm-hmm.
I should really, I don't know. I mean, I haven't really kept up with it. I never used the Steam controller, so I'm not really sure, like, how much this affects them.
I mean, I don't think it affects them that much just because they're not focusing on the controller anymore, but it was a neat controller. Like, it worked well for its intention of having the trackpad on the controller felt good. I played through a whole adventure game like that, and it worked. It's just disappointing that Valve kind of doesn't care about... They put in all this effort like, oh, Steam machine, Steam controller, we're going to do all this stuff, and then they just let it all languish.
Yeah, they're very much about, like, trying to make hardware and then dropping it. Like, haven't they tried a lot of that stuff before?
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That actually reminded me of the biggest news. I don't know if we talked about it last week. I don't know if it happened last week. Stadia.
Oh, that's right.
I had completely forgotten about that.
Go for it. Stadia like closed down, right?
So they didn't
Or
close down. Google just shut down their internal development studios. So that means you will not have any Stadia exclusive games going forward, which is also kind of a nail in the coffin of that service, considering it's not even doing that well to begin with. Uh, the whole point of those exclusive games is that they are able to take advantage of the platform and its capabilities in a way that other multi-platform games can't. That's why
yeah,
you have those exclusive games, is to show off the feature set of the platform. And it sucks because they didn't really put out any Stadia exclusive games to begin with that really took advantage of the platform, and now they've given up. Like everything with Stadia, it feels like Google gave up before they actually started trying. And from what I understand, there was a Kotaku article about it, and one of the developer people on the inside said, "Imagine Amazon Studios, but under-resourced." So a lot of people speculated, based on how Stadia was released, that Google had given up on it before it even started. I think that's kind of exactly what happened.
another company that likes to build hardware and then just like drop it the moment they don't think it's going to do well.
Yeah.
Because
Well, not even that. It feels like they dropped it before they even released it. Like at some point during development, someone was like, "Yeah, I don't think this is going to do well. Let's just cut the funding." Well, should we cancel the project? Nah, release it and see what happens. But don't give them any more money.
listen, they can have a bake sale. They can,
Yeah,
crowdsource the
they'll make
money.
a Patreon, put up a Kickstarter. And
Ah, shit.
and so the thing is, like, Stadia has a platform still exists. And so they will still, if a game company, if Ubisoft wants to put a game on Stadia, they can. And I know the head of Stadia, I know he's like a famous game studio guy. I forget his name. It's like Paul something, Peter something, Pan, whatever. He was head of Microsoft for a couple years. But anyways, he's still in charge there. Stadia is still going to, it has a platform, exist, has a place for games, but it sounds like they're shifting to maybe just offer the technology to
Yeah.
instead of being just a platform to go to individual game companies and say, "Hey, if you want streaming tech, we can provide it for you." To become less consumer focused and maybe more developer focused in what they can offer.
The Konami code, according to AC Wraith, the Konami code on the controllers didn't give life extensions, I guess.
Nope, nope, nope. Oh, and Edie says he's a business wonk, not a gaming professional. No, it's a guy who's been in everywhere. Who the heck is the head of Stadia? Okay, I'm looking this up.
I've never really kept up with Stadia.
Phil Harrison. Phil Harrison was in charge of Xbox for a while last there. Yeah, he was the vice president of Microsoft. He was a executive director of Sony.
So he's been like the
Yeah,
big
he's
two.
gone. He's gone from one game to another, to another, to another, and then he went to Stadia. But it also sucks because Jade Raymond, who was like one of the people that worked on Assassin's Creed, the original, way back in the day, and is one of the people that, because I liked Assassin's Creed, I was like, oh, what is she going to do next? She went on to like Ubisoft Montreal and worked on something, but didn't put out a game. Then she went to Stadia, worked on something, never put out a game. Now she's out of a job. Who the fuck knows?
That has to be bad on your like resume. I guess not. It could be fine.
Yeah,
Just
and I know
that
that's
sucks.
happened. That happened with a guy. I think the best Far Cry. My favorite Far Cry is Far Cry 2. The lead developer of Far Cry 2 went to Valve, and I don't know, he vanished off the face of the earth.
Just never to be seen from again.
Yeah. No, Phil Harrison wasn't in charge of the Xbox One rollout. Edie, that was Quack guy. The guy that Edie,
Don
whenever
Matrick?
Don Matrick. Whenever Edie does the impression of him, it's Don Matrick.
Listen, that's the only reason why I remember that person's name is because of Edie.
Yeah, he was in charge of the Xbox One.
Yeah, that was an entire shit show. Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
All right, yeah. I'll bring up the next one, I guess. There's a lot of info on the new Mass Effect remaster that's coming out. It's going to be released on May 14th, and they kind of got people a first hands-on looks of it. And it's not. I mean, they put a lot of work into it from what I've seen. I read an article where one person wasn't particularly happy with the reworks in the first Mass Effect, especially that very beginning Eden Prime part of the mission, because the tone's a little different in the environment. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of screenshots, and the new one, it's like, oh yeah, everything looks better, but it's also all brighter.
Yeah,
Like
and
the original had an atmosphere and tone to it, and it's like with the remake, because they want to show off how much better it looks, it's like, everything takes place during the sun. It's a beautiful day out.
yeah, in the original it was supposed to be this kind of like apocalyptic event for the planet.
Yeah.
Like there were zombies, people were dying, all of that. One of the bad news about the remaster or the Legendary Edition is there will be no multiplayer to it. They decided to just cut that out of it.
Oh,
Apparently,
really?
yeah. So, from what I was reading, the lead developer of it was talking about how when you're making a remaster, you kind of have to take your time, money, and resources and put it in specific part of the games. Like for instance, reworking the first game a lot. Like they had to remake Eden Prime almost entirely. And when they were talking about it, they realized that to make the multiplayer again in the Legendary Edition, they'd have to add new systems for like the multiplayer itself, servers, getting everything connected, probably starting the microtransactions back up. All of that they didn't have the time for. So they decided just to scrap it and say we're not going to put it in.
I feel
Which
like
is
they
a little
made
unfortunate.
I feel like they made the right decision.
Yeah, I guess, but like Edie was talking about, and I mentioned, I love that multiplayer. It was a lot of fun. You didn't. You didn't play it as much as
I
us.
didn't.
Uh,
So one thing that they are also missing from the Legendary Edition is the DLC for the first Mass Effect, Pinnacle Station. Because I guess that DLC was made by a third party, not necessarily BioWare. And so when they went to that third party to get some of the source code, turned out the source code was corrupted. And so that DLC just doesn't exist anymore.
which one?
Pinnacle Station. That it's not something that a lot of people will play because it was DLC for the first Mass Effect. The second Mass Effect went way more DLC heavy, and the first game even came out like at a time when DLC was not a super big thing. And so the content is really not that essential. It's not that big, but people aren't missing out on much. But it's just kind of unfortunate that, hey, from a game preservation standpoint, the source code was not properly kept and it ended up being corrupted, and so it's just been lost to time.
I don't think I actually played much of the DLC for any of the Mass Effect games, so that's a little unfortunate. But I mean, you can still go buy Mass Effect 1 on PC if you have one, and replay it in its original glory.
Mm-hmm.
So you can pick up that kind of DLC again.
Yeah. What's also missing from the Legendary Edition is ass shots.
I was wondering if I should mention this, but like in chat,
it's definitely worth
was
mentioning.
Like, I'm butthurt, and then Blood Reaper's like, fill out a butthurt report, and I just used butt salve, and all I could think was of the news that like they had taken out butt shots from I think 2 in particular, like they had changed
Yeah, I mean, I can still remember back in the day, Miranda has the character, is a woman spends the whole game in a skin tight outfit. And there are times when you're talking to her and the camera's just like, boom, like looking at my screen, like here's her ass here, and then over on this side, yeah, the shepherd standing there. And it's like, oh, wow, okay. A modeler was really impressed with the work they put into her butt, and they're like, I'm gonna fucking show it off.
So
Like,
it took me a while pling that one, but I didn't realize it was Sarah from Chuck. That's who played the
yeah,
character
yeah.
model. I don't know. I'm fine with it. I don't care about the butt shots, but that was actually like a part of her character in a way. She was meant to seduce Shepard, and
Yeah, but
like,
not like you can do that with the character, and it's just the
yeah,
direction that has that gratuitous butt shot. It's like, oh, okay, this is a little
right.
weird.
When the character,
Sure.
when you're the focus, when Shepard's the focus of the shot, but it's down and like slightly to the left, so you're like looking from behind the character model's butt. That's a problem. Like that's not necessary.
Like, look, I get it if you want to like oogle this character, sure, but at least make that the point of the scene. When you try to do that while also like having a deep conversation about, the Reapers are invading,
It
you com-
undercuts it.
you completely undercut everything, and it's like, okay, this is just really bad.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, it's like, sure, it's just it's a dumb thing, and it makes sense why they take it out, because it was just kind of bad direction for a game that prized itself on the way the camera cut between characters when they're talking, to make it really cinematic. To have this sudden gratuitous butt shot is like, wow, this is just bad direction.
It's almost like, man, how do we make this game more exciting? We know 50% more Miranda butt shots. Let's
Hmm.
do it. Uh,
And the thing is, like, you're not missing out on much, really, because like there weren't that many butt shots. It's like one or two that stand out because they're so gratuitous, and it's like, okay, yeah, you take it out. If no one said anything, I'll bet no one would have noticed.
I wouldn't have. Like, I
Yeah,
guarantee. Like, I don't remember two well enough. It's not like I'm thinking back on the best moments of two and being like, I'm gonna miss that.
yeah. There's a lot of other
Uh,
better stuff in that game.
one thing that I was reading is they discussed doing a full remake of the game, and they decided that they can't really do that because the script team goalie. Uh, so to update Mass Effect from the Unreal Engine 3 and going to Unreal Engine 4, they would have had to scrap like so much of the scripting language for the game
Mm.
that they would have had to redo UI, like um, so many of the actual game elements and systems that it's almost impossible that you would lose something that made that game special by upgrading it, which is why they stuck with a remaster instead of a remake, and we probably won't end up seeing a remake ever. Like it
Yeah,
would lose some of that love.
you would basically be making a new game from scratch.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, I mean, if you're looking forward to replaying that, you want the updated graphics. I'm not sure. I think they updated the combat system of one to be more in line with the other games, which I'm not really a fan of. I enjoyed one's combat system, even though it was considered a low like point for the game. Uh, part of that was it was very RPG and kind of rough, but
It was more RPG. The games definitely went more in a shooter direction as they went on.
yeah, and I mean, I enjoyed that RPG element. Like that's what
Yeah,
pulled me in.
I still actually think the first one is the best one. I like
Yeah,
the story and the ideas they play within that one the best.
and yeah, and I early on, because I've looked into the Mass Effect series like a while back, and one of the things that was mentioned was one of the lead writers like left the project after one or got fired,
Mm.
uh, and the story changed drastically because of that. And there was supposed to be this whole like story about like dark matter and how the relay systems worked, and that just got scrapped. They went in with like the whole reprint mission, which turned out fine, but I would have liked to see one.
And debatable. Considering how that game ended, maybe they should have stuck with the original idea.
When they fixed the ending, I didn't mind it. It was still way less than they promised,
Yeah,
but
they didn't really fix anything. It was
yeah.
just meh. It's fine. It's like, oh, okay.
I guess moving on though. Nick, I know you're not super interested in this, but Final Fantasy XIV released a trailer for the new expansion coming out.
One of these days, I'll go back and play some of it and get to
Well,
the.
now it's a good time. It'll be released in fall, and we can play. You can now play up to level 60 free, and the first
Okay.
expansion.
Although I think I'm like level 50, so that's not too much.
But the new expansion, there's not a lot to it. There'll be 2 new classes, a healing class and a DPS. And apparently it's going to take people to the moon. Like you'll end up
Okay.
on the moon at some point. And it's called World's End. World Ender. I'll have to look that up exactly. But it takes place right after the Shadowborn expansion. Shadowborn. That seems wrong to me.
Shadowbringers.
Shadowbringer expansion. Endwalker. Okay. If you've wanted to get into Final Fantasy XIV ever, they've recently, not like brand new, but they recently updated the beginning story so you can kind of fast track through that. So you don't have to do what Nick did, which was play through all of the fetch quests, which I get was super tedious.
It was tedious, but like I said a while ago, I ended on a good part where like I think the writing in the world was starting to get really interesting, and so it it ended being on a very positive note in my mind, which makes me want to go back to it at some point.
Because I want to go back to it as well. I'm thinking about picking it up on PC, and I'm trying to recruit people because it's a game that you want people to play with.
But see, I probably wouldn't play it that often. You know, I'm very sporadic with my gaming time.
Fair. But yeah, so if anyone's interested in 14, if you wanted to get back into it, this is their 8th year being out, which is kind of mind-boggling to me. Apparently, time keeps moving forward, even if we don't want it to.
Huh. And so I imagine if you buy it now, with this expansion, you get the previous expansions with it, right?
Yeah, there's a complete edition. Like there's an edition where you can just buy the expansion if you have the rest, and then there's a complete edition which sells for usually like $60, where you get everything.
Mm-hmm. And that's cool. It's nice to be able to just pick up this thing, and not have to worry about piecemeal content. Do I have this? Do I not have it?
Yeah, it is. Fair warning, it is if you're not playing the free edition, which is like up to level 60, the first expansion, Heaven's Ward as well. It is $15 a month ish, like 13 to 15, depending on what character model you get, or not character model, but like one is you can have 1 character per world. You can have 8 of those, or you can have 8 characters per world, and you can have like 40 of those. Got anything else?
Yeah. Gearbox has now been purchased. They have been bought by Embracer Group, which is the Swedish company that actually owns THQ Nordic and Koch Media. So basically, Gearbox is kind of becoming part of THQ Nordic, really, because they're all owned by the same top-level umbrella corporation.
I remember Blood Reaper, I think, linking that in chat a while back. Do you know what changes with it? Like, are they going to do anything with the series, or do they just kind of own it now?
Not really. Well, I think they just own Gearbox, and everything Gearbox has done, which is not a whole lot lately.
Yeah, I mean,
they did Godfall, but no one really cared about Godfall. I think Borderlands 3 did really well for them. But other than that, they've kind of had a bit of a troubled development history, and so it kind of feels inevitable that they would be bought by someone eventually.
Yeah. I wonder if this changes like with Take-Two, because do you know if they're still like under Take-Two publishing wise?
Oh right.
Because honestly, Take-Two
I
is
don't think
garbage.
so.
Hate Take-Two.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're part of the reason Evolve failed. I mean, the game had its problems, but like, they really shoved their nose into selling the game at $60, and then like day one DLC before it was like okay. Uh, I don't know. I mean, other than
Oh,
what's up?
yes. Oh, Take-Two sent out a statement that said this merger does not change 2K's relationship with Gearbox, nor our role as the publisher for Borderlands or any other projects we are currently working on with the studio.
I
Look
am
forward
less
to
sad.
continuing a long-term partnership with the Internal Tendency. So basically, it kind of sounds like things that they are working. Oh, what the hell did Siri want? Things that they have published with Gearbox and are doing ongoing will stay the same. Maybe that might change with new IPs that they don't have any, existing deal with, but
Mhm.
anything existing now is just going to stay the same going forward.
Okay, so I mean, that sucks. But I mean, the only thing I've really liked out of Gearbox lately was Borderlands 3, and even that was not quite as good as 2, in my opinion.
I mean, honestly, that's the only good thing they've done in years.
That's true. Battleborn failed, like literally failed hard and shut down. Um,
Battleborn Marines.
Godfall, I wanted to be so good, but like looking up reviews, the combat system is just basic, and that's like a
Hmm.
killer for me. Yeah, I guess Gearbox just pump out, Borderlands content.
Yeah. No, they should make another Brothers in Arms.
I've never played that. Any good?
It's really cool. It was like a first-person World War II shooter, but it was heavy on the strategy side, and flanking was really important. So like you had to set up your guys and say, okay, you stay here, cover fire them over there, so I can sneak over to the side and then shoot them and kill the guys. And like flanking was a big thing, and it was more like turn-based strategy almost than it was first-person shooter. It was really cool.
Okay, see, I didn't know that. To
I
be fair,
remember
like,
I remember the decade ago, they put out a trailer for a new Brothers in Arms that was like really stylized and action heavy, kind of instead of going from the realistic route that they were, it felt like they were going full Inglorious Bastards with it.
mhm.
But that game never came out. They kind of quietly canceled it.
Yeah, I mean, studios haven't been putting out as much games lately, anyways. And
Mm,
outside of Borderlands, I mean, Gearbox kind of fell on the back burner. Like that's the only good IP that they hold right now that they're using.
hmm
All right. Maybe this will change. Maybe with their merger, we'll see something amazing produced between the two, and we'll get something more out of it. So
Yeah.
I only have one more news item. This so it might be a short show today unless you have like enough to carry us for a while.
I only have one other one, maybe two.
So during an earnings call this year, um, Blizzard was talking about you know potential releases, and Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2 will not be released in 2021. So if you're looking forward to those games, there's nothing's going to come out this year for them.
And so that seems particularly bad for Overwatch because it is a it is supposedly a live service game with ongoing content drops, but they have stopped doing those content drops after they announced Overwatch 2 because all of that content was being held back for Overwatch 2. And so at this point, this live service ongoing game is going to be going on for like 2 years with no new content.
Which I mean, that's another game that I have seen like it exploded out into like popular culture and like onto the scene, and it was super popular. But just after years, I don't hear anything about Overwatch anymore.
I mean, because like they're not doing anything new. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like Activision kind of forced them to put out a sequel, but then I don't know, development troubles, COVID hit, and that sequel kept getting delayed, and so the Overwatch game is just kind of there existing. But
yeah.
it can't. It feels like its hands are tied, and it can't do anything to promote itself.
Because I mean, the last thing I'd really heard about it was just the esports scene. They had like the tournaments and all of that, but
Yeah,
I'm not even sure what that looks like anymore with COVID. All the
yeah.
tournament stuff has been pushed aside for so many people. It's another long list of like Activision has changed and squandered Blizzard's image, in my opinion. Like they have
Hmm.
that fan goodwill that they had garnered over the last 2 decades is now almost gone to me. I feel nothing for like new Blizzard games. Like thinking of Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2, I'm not excited about them at all.
And I know that's a thing people have talked about for a while, but I think it was very strongly felt last year when they put out the remake of Warcraft 3, which ended up being nothing like they promised it would be. They promised like a cold top-down remake with cutscenes that would be, changed from instead of just having the camera above looking down with text, it would be right in front of people's faces. There'd be voice acting. It would look really cinematic, and it kind of had none of that. And not only that, but when they put it out, they forced everyone to upgrade to the new version, and the new version broke the servers. So basically, they
Uh,
broke the entire Warcraft 3 multiplayer online community for until they fixed it. And yeah, I know that shattered a lot of people's images of it. And it's like the Blizzard you know now is absolutely not the Blizzard that people loved years ago.
yeah, and Vise is saying that maybe all their good employees just vacated in the company from the company or starved because they couldn't afford their lunch anymore.
Yeah, right. Or they
Which
got laid off when Activision was like, "Hey, we had a banner year in like I think it was 2018 or 2019. We're the most profitable year ever. We laid off 800 people."
that's the thing. I mean, back when Overwatch came out and before they'd really kind of Activision had sunk their claws in, like reading about what the development cycle was for a Blizzard like team was pretty good. Essentially, they got the free range to work on whatever they wanted, and if it didn't work out, they were free to just kill it.
Hmm.
Like, no problem. We'll reuse those assets or do something else with it. But now they're becoming like EA or just Activision itself and putting out what they're told and forcing IPs and like uh Blood Reaper says hi cat. Forcing to put out franchises rather than
Yeah,
innovate or make something new.
and it sucks too, especially with Sorry, his breath fucking smells like cat food. What have you been licking? Jesus, man.
Cat food?
No, but like treats. I haven't had a treat out there. I haven't fed you anything. What? What was I gonna say? Even when they work on franchises, because I know the developer of the Tony Hawk 1 and 2 remake that came out last year, that apparently was a very, very good remake of those two games. Their reward for that was to just be merged into the rest of Blizzard. And it's like, oh, you have this developer that makes a really good game, and you're gonna use them by just squishing them with another person, like just making them part of a larger team. And it just feels like Activision is putting all its eggs in one basket and then abusing that basket, and they just keep doing that over and over again, no matter how successful individual
Yeah.
developers may be or individual teams may be.
This is, I think, just a major problem in the culture and environment of the top-down suits, the people who know how to run business, making those decisions for the developers and not really paying attention to the fans or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. And that kind of brings me to the other news story I have. This was a tweet from Jeff Keighley. and I'm not sure what he was looking at, but he said that This is from Jeff Keighley's Twitter. Activision Blizzard has said it is planning to apply the Call of Duty framework across its other franchises, including premium content, free-to-play access to all consumers, expansion to mobile, and continuous regular delivery of in-game content. And my one sort of immediate reaction is, what other franchises? Like, what does Activision have? They don't have Guitar Hero anymore. They don't really have Tony Hawk. Because they remade it. They don't have a Guitar Hero. What was it Skylanders, Spyro, Crash Bandicoot? They've already remade all of their franchises. It feels like they had like the best-selling games for several years that they ran all into the ground. After they finished running those into the ground, they started remaking the best hits. You know, Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, all those. They've now done that and hit a wall where it's like, well, shit, what else do we do?
This is, I think, an example. I think with Activision in particular, they released Call of Duty, right? And that changed their development landscape for them because it was so popular, so overwhelmingly like bought and had such a large player base that IP sucked all of the money from the rest of the studios. Like all the resources that they could have used on other studios, they threw into like Call of Duty.
Yeah, they put everything into there to get yearly releases. And, you know, it's worked for them because Call of Duty is kind of the one thing from them that has remained popular. But, I mean, you can kind of see it now. They had Destiny for a while, but Destiny wasn't doing as well as they wanted it to, so they kind of dropped it. They've been putting their eggs into progressively fewer baskets, and now you kind of see them, I think, squeezing Blizzard for more and more blood. But who knows when Blizzard will last, and who knows what other they need to find a new IP, a new franchise like Call of Duty. And we thought they had it with Destiny, but I guess they disagreed. And so if they squeeze Blizzard too much and like all those franchises start to dry up, like they've got Call of Duty, but that's also kind of it. And yeah, it makes them a lot of money. And I know they own King, the mobile developer, that also makes a lot of money. But at a certain point, they're just going to be like a 3-studio publisher. They've got like Blizzard, I guess a bunch of different studios on Call of Duty, and then King. And that's
Treyarch and Infinity Ward, I think.
Yeah, but like they got Blizzard, Call of Duty, and King. And that's like their whole publishing output.
And I mean, they could be pushing that framework to stuff like Overwatch 2 or Diablo 4, and I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, but they could, but like we won't even see that this whole year. So
that seems more like a signaling for like the market, like for investors and such. Like, hey, see how well Call of Duty's done and like how well that's been working. We're gonna put that on everything else. So trust us.
Well, I think it shows for Activision. You know, like I said before, they're putting all their eggs in these fewer franchises. So they're going to try to turn those franchises into live service games because something like Fortnite or Apex Legends, you can have an entire studio dedicated to one game and make money off of that. And so if they're already heading in that direction where all they have is Candy Crush, all they have is Call of Duty, and all they have are a couple Blizzard IPs, if they make each of those into a long, popular live service game, that's plenty. Like they can keep making dollars hand over feet by doing that. But they have to do that because I don't think they can stay at the same position by putting out a yearly release of Call of Duty. And like that's it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Especially with like how well Warzone's done. Like if Warzone's gonna stay popular, they're not going to want to put out a new Call of Duty that will like supersede Warzone. Like how will that work?
I think they will. It's just that boxed $60 copy of Call of Duty will either include Warzone itself or like include an expansion to Warzone or something. But I can see those two existing alongside each other because Warzone is a specific mode.
True, but it's a part of the most recent like Infinity Ward Call of Duty.
But it was also part of
It's also
Black
standalone.
Ops.
Was
Yeah.
it?
Well, like if you buy Black Ops, you can still access Warzone, but like you access Warzone by launching Call of Modern Warfare 4.
Well, yeah,
And so
because
it's like this kind of hodgepodge beast, but I think you can still access Warzone through Black Ops because Warzone is super fucking popular and they want it easily accessible in all their games.
well, clearly they're not doing the best.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm out of items.
There was one other thing I had, thanks to AC Wraith, about Valve. I guess some people have filed a class action lawsuit against Valve, saying that it uses its market power to like force prices for games. That if you want your game on Valve, you cannot have it at a lower price on another platform. And that's an anti-competitive thing because, if Epic Game Store comes in and wants to be competitive, one of the easiest ways to do that is by undercutting Steam. But if Steam has a bunch of things in its contract that if you put your game on Steam, you cannot have it go on sale elsewhere unless it's also on sale on Steam, then they prevent that kind of undercutting and competitive behavior. And so Steam hasn't come back with any sort of comment, and this was just filed, so it'll probably be years before we see anything come of it. But class action lawsuit has been filed, and yeah, Steam
This is
is
something they're
having a tough
going to
week.
fight. Steam will fight that tooth and nail, I think. Just
Oh yeah,
because
I agree.
the longer they can keep that in effect, like maybe one day they'll get overruled and told, yeah, you can't do that anymore. Until then, like they're gonna make money off of it. They're gonna want
Mm-hmm.
to. I mean, I don't know. I don't care if it goes on sale in other places. I mean, Steam is great. It does a good thing. But I mean, yeah, if other people want to sell different places, that'd be great too.
Yeah, it'd be cool. I don't know if like does that include the consoles? Like if a
I don't
game is
think
on
so.
sale on PSN and Xbox, does it have to be on sale on Steam?
No, I don't think so. Because they're just completely different like markets and systems.
Yeah,
I think it's just PC stuff.
that makes sense. So yeah,
Well,
that was my last news item.
uh
Oh, Blood Reaper said Hoag's Law did a video on that too.
yes, not Hog's Law. Hoag's Law. That's my
Okay.
bad. It was fixed. But yeah, they did apparently a
Oh.
video on this too. So if you're looking for like the legal side of this stuff, Reaper and both Edie, Hoag's Law is where it at. Where's
Yeah, he's on top of things.
well, I mean, not a 3-hour episode, unfortunately. Edie carries like a good hour of the episode herself, so
True. Well, I know she was streaming Crusader Kings 3 earlier, either today or yesterday. And so hearing her stories from that would have been a good, 30, 40 minutes.
oh yeah, no, for
And
sure.
I'm not complaining about that. I love the Crusader Kings 3 stories. I want to hear them.
Yeah, and if you want like to stream whenever she wants to stream, she was doing it on Discord. Yeah, hop in, join her. I'm sure she'd love to have you.
Mhm.
All right, then I guess we'll try to close this out.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the ending sounder as well for me, please? Give it your best shot.
Oh, I don't even remember what the ending sounder was, but I did want to say you were streaming something this past week too, weren't you?
Not particular. I mean,
Okay. Or
I've
were
tried.
you were just like testing it out and setting it up?
Yeah, so the little HDMI capture card that we mentioned a while back. I was trying to set it up because I got like most of a new computer and I have an old one that still functions. It has not been going well. I have yet to figure out how to capture sound and play that through, so not great. I'm trying to set that up and figure that out though. The only thing I've
Okay.
really been streaming is Ghost of Tsushima on Twitch, on my personal Twitch.
Okay.
Well, so yeah, give me your best rendition.
Yeah. Shoot. What's embarrassing is like I don't even know what the ending's music is. I cannot for the life of me hear it in my head. Bum
Just make
bum
something up.
ba-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-da,
Sure.
da-da-da, da-da-da,
All right.
da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Thank you for listening to the GameHounds episode 581. I've been Andrew Smith, and with me has been Nick Nicola. Ways to get a hold of us: gamehounds.net is our website, and gamehounds@gmail.com is our email. We record the show live every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can find us on Facebook and Twitch as The Gamehounds, and on YouTube as Gamehounds Vids. That's VIDS as in video. We have a Patreon that helps us keep the show going. $1 a month is all we ask, and it helps us keep the video feed going. It's patreon.com/gamehounds. Thank you to all our patrons that keep the lights on for us and allow us to be here every week with our video feed. We will be back next week. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night, everyone. Thanks, everyone who is in the chat. AC Wraith, Bitter Plus, Blood Reaper, Edie Sellers, whoever that is.
Say
Vise,
goodbye, Shepard. Bye.
Shepard says bye as well. Rhythm Bat, Kaz. If I've missed you, I apologize. Ryan, I butchered your name last time. And of course, AC Wraith providing all the links and being wonderful as always.
Yes. Thank you, all of you. Yeah. Come watch us. Come.
Running the show into the ground. Have a good night, everyone.